Hello and welcome to this first introductory video for Kodu. Kodu is developed by Microsoft Game Labs. It's kind of visual programming, so if you've ever used anything like Scratch before, you'll see similarities. It can be used by anybody, but ideally you'll probably have the most success from sort of year 3 upwards, and certainly into Key Stage 2 is where it fits best in the curriculum and ability-wise as well. So you can pitch it at different levels. You can do quite simple things with it, or very complicated things too, which could go way beyond Key Stage 2. But for your purposes, that's where I would pitch it best. When you first load Kodu, this is what you see, this little menu. We've got the option to resume our game if we've previously been working on something, but we're going to go to the load world initially here. And you'll see when we go in there, you'll see lots of files already in there. These are, a lot of them are tutorial files that are there to take you step by step through different skills, and they're really useful. Some of these fit really nicely and are made to go with some of the video tutorials which you can find online, and there are links to some of those on the Game on Kodu page. So that they kind of take you through, ask you to build different styles of games and that kind of thing, and there's lots of different those ranging from the simple to the quite complicated. You've got the option across there at the top there, My World is where you'll save your own games once you start building them, and you've got lessons and samples of other games as well, all sorts of different things you can create with Kodu. But to begin with, we're just going to click on any of these files just so we can kind of get in and get started. So just click on the first tutorial one and play it and continue into it. And once you're in any Kodu world, if you press the escape key, that brings up the menu at the bottom of the screen, and that's something you'll do a lot when you're kind of working on your game. And I want to start a new empty world, and you can do this from any Kodu file. So once you've pressed escape, if you go to the house button on the left, you'll see the option to start a new empty world. And that's what you get. So I'm going to talk about controls first of all. Most of it's done with your mouse, and then also the menu at the bottom there. So once we're in this navigation, in an editing mode here, the hand tool will let you manipulate your world really. So left clicking is just dragging it around, and once that world becomes bigger, that lets you kind of move around and see different parts of it. If you right click on your mouse, that lets you drag and rotate your world, so you can turn it and look at it from any angle. And the mouse wheel in the center of your mouse, if you roll that wheel, that will zoom in and zoom out. So that's the basic controls. Some of these other tools, once you've clicked on them, you then lose the ability to navigate, but a useful thing to know is that if you hold the spacebar at any time, it automatically jumps back to the hand tool, so you can be in the middle of creating and painting your world, which we'll look at later, and to be able to move it and adjust it, just hold the spacebar and it jumps straight back to the hand tool. All we're going to do initially is add an object to the world and see what happens when we do that. So the little kind of robot-y icon down here is a Kodu, and if you select that and then click on an empty space on your world somewhere, you'll get the option of what you want to put into your game. So Kodu is there, the robots, and there's also lots of other objects like apples or some of these other characters. If there's this kind of black arrow on the edge of a menu segment, it means that there's another kind of menu after that, so you can see that one expands to show all sorts of different characters. So you click to the side to just come out of there, and the same for some of these objects here. We've got rocks and castles and coins and things, different kinds of trees, more kind of robot characters and things in there as well. But we're just going to add a Kodu initially, and there he is on our world. That's draggable. You can position him where you want it to be initially, and you'll notice there's lots of kind of information being shown to me. The speech bubble there is showing me I can left and right click him and do things. Up in the top left of the screen there's always key instructions showing you what different things do. So sometimes it's just and worth pointing out to students as well that they just need to stop and kind of pay attention to some of those things, because often the answers are straight in front of them when they do get stuck. When you sort of let your mouse sit on him, you can use your left and right arrow keys just to cycle through the colours at the top of the screen there, so we can have a pink or a red or a blue Kodu or a red one there. If you right click the Kodu, that's something you'll need to do quite a bit. You'll see that the menu appears. We've got the option to programming, which we'll do shortly, and also getting to change the settings, change the size of the Kodu. Let's do that quickly. So you get this slider bar appears that can make him very big or very small. And again, Just click to the side, and again we can change the height of him. So for this Kodu, he's kind of hovering in the sky, but some of the other characters are designed to drive on the floor or go in water for with some cases as well. But we can move them up and down as well. But we're just going to go into program next, and to make anything respond and work in Kodu, this is where you need to come to really. So the instructions are set out with when and do. It's conditional statements, so when something happens it will make something else happen. So clicking on when there, we've got all sorts of options that we can use. Just in a very simple example, we can say when the keyboard is pressed. If there's more information you can add or more detail you can break it down into, you'll see the plus sign after it. You can click on that and we've got options of which part of the keyboard is pressed. So we've got arrow keys there, we've got specific letters on the keyboard if I wanted to choose those, or symbols or numbers, but let's just use the arrow keys for now. So when the arrow keys are pressed, we can tell it what we'd like it to do. And again, you can see lots of choices, options. We've got move, which would be logical, or turn, or shoot, and all kinds of other things as well. But let's just say move for now. And there's more we can say. So there's a plus sign there. We can say move forwards, move quickly, move slowly. So let's say move quickly. And for now that will do. To get out and get into your game and try it, just press escape, and that'll take you back to the menu. And from there, you can just press escape again. And now we're in play mode, so once the menu at the bottom has disappeared, you know you're in play mode, and those arrow keys should be working. We can steer him and turn him and make him move forwards and backwards and go wherever we want to go. Not very exciting at the moment, but that's the basic controls. So obviously I'd want to go back and add more, so it's just a case of pressing escape again and bringing your menu back up. To go back in and change him, you need to be on the Kodu icon, and then just return and right click him, and then you can go back and program him again to add more information. Okay, we'll look at quickly some of the other things in the menu at the bottom. We won't go through them all in this video because we'll as you go into some of the later tutorial videos, you'll come across some of the other features. But a simple one that you'll want to use quite quickly is the painting tool. That lets you expand your world. So we've just got a quite small empty square at the moment. If you click on that tool, you'll see a kind of flashing square appear on your screen. That's my paintbrush. You can alter the size of that with the arrow keys. Left and right will shrink it or expand it. You can also change the shape of your brush with the blue tools, which just hover above the paintbrush icon. So the circular one's a bit easier to use, I find personally. And the other option you've got is the style in which it paints, so the kind of colour of the ground, and there's lots of options for that you can paint those as well. At any time, if you right click, it will delete the land. Left clicking paints it back in. So you can zoom out. Sometimes it's easier to see what you're doing if you go out a bit further, and again, as I said, if you want to do something quickly, you can make your brush nice and big, and you've got a big circular land for my Kodu to move in now. So that's painting or expanding your terrain. The other three buttons here are also to do with terrain, and they also have the option of different shapes. This one's to create hills or valleys, so in this case, again, left and right will change the size of your brush. Left clicking it brings the land up and creates a hill. Right clicking does the opposite and takes it back down again. And again, if you hold the spacebar, remember we can kind of quickly pan and zoom around that, so we can check out the hills we've created. You need to be careful with hills and things sometimes. Some of the characters, if you make the hills too steep, struggle to get over very steep inclines and that kind of thing. But most of the time these Kodus who hover can kind of scramble up hills as long as they're not too steep. The other tools, moving along, this one flattens things, so if you just want to get it quickly back to a level surface, left clicking will level out the top of that mountain. Right clicking brings the ground up to meet the top of the surface rather than taking the top down. And the third one along is just creating spiky areas. so it will come up sort of fairly randomly but very quickly. So you can see what that's created there. It always works in these kind of blocks that you can see, so the whole ground and environment is created out of these squares, and that would be too steep for a character to climb over, so that would kind of work well for creating walls and that kind of thing, especially if you've got a very small brush. You can paint along and create these spiky areas to sort of block off areas and that kind of thing. And the last thing is adding water, which is that tool there. Water kind of floods out the area that you click on. And again, there are different colours and styles of liquid that you can add, but we'll just add regular blue water to begin with. So left clicking makes the water go up, right clicking makes it go back down again, and you can see it's covering any area that it can kind of get into. So if you do create a sort of hollowed out area with the hills tool, you can just put water into a small area, but it will leak to anything that's the same height if you haven't kind of closed areas off. So we've got quite a different looking world already. And again, if we just press escape, that'll take us back into game mode. We can just zoom in a bit. You can change the camera angle while you're in game mode with your mouse, and the arrow keys still make Kodu move around it. And he should sort of naturally climb over small hills and that kind of thing. And water, I think that he's got the ability to kind of hover over the water. Some of the characters are designed specifically to go in water. I think there's a sort of robot fish in there somewhere that works well, and a submarine character. Some you can program them so they stop or slow down when you get to water and that kind of thing. So you can imagine the possibilities are endless for the worlds that you can create, and the style of games that you want to create as well. So to find out more and for a bit more detail, and we'll get into making games and things in some of the next videos. So visit the Kodu page in Game On. There's lots more ideas on there, tutorials, lesson plans, help sheets, and links to some useful websites as well. So I recommend you visit there next.